My name is Celeste Gossman, and in this video I will discuss public relations theorist James E. Grunig's situational theory of publics as it relates to the program Tide Loads of Hope. Tide Loads of Hope is a program sponsored by Tide Laundry Detergent, which provides laundry services to people affected by disasters such as floods, tornadoes, or hurricanes. Their website says that 34,000 loads of laundry have been washed through the Loads of Hope program. The following clip, taken from YouTube, is a 30-second TV commercial from Tide Loads of Hope. The commercial can also be found at www.tide.com/Loads of Hope.
Every year, millions of Americans face disaster. That's why we created the Tide Loads of Hope program, a free laundry service that provides clean clothes to families affected by disasters.
It feels so good to be able to know that I've got clean clothes.
You don't know how very basic essentials are till you have none.
This is what gives us hope.
You too can join us by purchasing a Tide Vintage Tee at TideLoadsOfHope.com. All profits will go towards helping families affected by disasters.
That video will give you something to consider as I discuss the elements of the situational theory of publics. Public relations theorist James E. Grunig developed the situational theory of publics in 1968. Grunig expanded upon the theory in 2011, which I will explain more later on in this video. In a recent article by Grunig and Jong-Nam Kim, they explain that the situational theory of publics is used to explain when and why individuals become active in communication behaviors such as information seeking. The situational theory uses three independent variables to predict how a public will react to information. The first variable is level of involvement. Level of involvement is the degree of personal connectedness or relevance to an issue. This often refers to an emotional connection, but other connections can be relevant as well. When an audience feels that a message affects them, they are more likely to listen to and remember the message. The second variable is problem recognition, which refers to the extent to which individuals perceive that a situation has consequence for them. To encourage an audience to take action on an issue, first you have to make them acknowledge that there is a problem. The third variable is constraint recognition, which involves the perceived or actual barriers that hinder people from doing something about a problem. Even if an audience's level of involvement and problem recognition are high, if their constraint recognition is also high, it can outweigh the effects of the other variables. A person may realize there is a problem and that the problem affects them, but at the same time they may feel like there is nothing they can do to improve the situation. The situational theory also uses two dependent variables: information seeking and information processing. Information seeking is the purposeful search for information, while information processing is when a person pays attention to and absorbs a message, although the message is not necessarily acted upon. So how do these variables work together to form the situational theory of publics? The degree to which a public experiences the independent variables affects whether a public will engage more in information seeking or information processing. If a public experiences high level of involvement, high level of problem recognition, and low constraint recognition, they are more likely to engage in information seeking. If you consider information processing as passive behavior and information seeking as active behavior, the situational theory can be used to distinguish active segments of a population from less active ones. High level of involvement, high problem recognition, and low constraint recognition generally lead to a more active information behavior, information seeking. Low level of involvement, low problem recognition, and high constraint recognition generally lead to a passive information behavior, information processing. In February 2011, Grunig published an article in the Journal of Communication expanding on his original situational theory of publics. He calls the expanded concept the situational theory of problem solving. As you can see in Grunig's diagram of the two theories side by side, they are very similar. The situational theory of problem solving contains all the elements of the situational theory of publics, with additional dependent variables or information behaviors, and with the added independent variable referent criterion. A referent criterion is a past experience that an audience sees as similar to a current problem, and they draw from the successes and failures of that experience to decide the best course of action. Another difference between the two theories is the expansion of information behaviors. Information seeking, information forwarding, and information forwarding are all active information behaviors. Information attending, which replaces the term information processing but refers to the same concept, information permitting, and information sharing are passive information behaviors. One reason for the expanded list of information behaviors could be the way that communication has changed since the situational theory of publics was conceived in 1968. As Alduri and Shaw point out in a 2007 work, there are more media outlets now than when the situational theory was first developed. The Internet has become a common source of entertainment and information, and media consumers are far more sophisticated than they were 30 years ago. These factors have played a role in changing the dynamics of information processing. Now that I've explained the details of the situational theory, I'm going to replay the Loads of Hope commercial from the beginning of this video.
Every year, millions of Americans face disaster. That's why we created the Tide Loads of Hope program, a free laundry service that provides clean clothes to families affected by disasters.
It feels so good to be able to know that I've got clean clothes.
You don't know how very basic essentials are till you have none.
This what gives us hope.
You too can join us by purchasing a Tide Vintage Tee at TideLoadsOfHope.com. All profits will go towards helping families affected by disasters.
In their 30-second TV commercial, Tide makes the viewer feel engaged and involved by showing the variety of people who can help with or benefit from the Loads of Hope program. The first demographic shown in the video is what appears to be a mother and her two children. The younger child is behind the plastic tub. Next, we are shown a young woman signing in her laundry with a young man working who appears to be about the same age. Then the video shows a middle-aged woman followed by a younger woman bringing in their laundry and a middle-aged woman working the table. After this series of images, there are two short clips of interviews with victims of disaster who are using the Loads of Hope service. Both women seem to be a little older. Following the interviews are clips of workers washing the laundry and of people receiving their clean laundry back. Everyone shown in this video is relatable to the average American viewer through the use of multiple age, race, gender, and social demographics. This helps the producers of the video achieve a high level of involvement among viewers. Also, most people acknowledge that disaster can strike any area at any time, and that leads me to problem recognition. The video opens with images of neighborhoods ripped apart by disaster. First, the clip shows houses which, although still standing, have piles of damaged furniture and appliances outside at the curb. This generally implies flooding, which can happen in nearly any neighborhood, especially those near water. Next, the commercial shows houses that are damaged structurally, implying storm damage. The palm trees in the background suggest hurricane activity rather than a tornado. In 1998, Anne-Marie Major conducted a study using the situational theory of publics to examine how publics react to disaster predictions. In her article, Major states that belief in disaster prediction has been found to be an important criterion for motivating public response. Major goes on to say that other studies have found that people can believe a prediction and not perceive that they are at risk. This means that even though the level of involvement may be low, the problem recognition can be high, and thus the public may still engage in information seeking. Major indicates that the results of the study were supported by the situational theory of publics, in that the theory explained the communication behavior in which the publics in the study engaged. There are actually two problems presented in the Loads of Hope commercial. The first is the problem of natural disaster. The second problem is a direct result of the first, the inability to wash laundry. because it may be a problem that few people think about when they consider the aftermath of a disaster. The producers of the video made a wise choice in allowing disaster victims to speak about the problem using interviews.
It feels so good to be able to know that I've got clean clothes.
You don't know how very basic essentials are till you have none.
The way the commercial presents the information pertaining to how a viewer can help Loads of Hope seems to indicate that the producers expect the audience's constraint recognition to be fairly low. The voiceover at the end of the commercial asks viewers to purchase a T-shirt, of which a portion of the proceeds will be given to Loads of Hope, and it also asks viewers to visit the website. When you visit the Tide website, www.tide.com, there are several tabs across the top of the page covering a variety of areas. The tab on the far right is for Loads of Hope. Clicking on that tab takes you to the Loads of Hope page, which has its own tabs, including Home, About Loads of Hope, Where We've Been, How to Help, and Our Partners. On the Loads of Hope homepage, there is a mention of a campaign in addition to the T-shirt campaign that uses specially marked bottles of detergent to encourage consumers to buy products that will support Loads of Hope. $1 from each marked bottle is given to the program. When you click on the How to Help tab, you are given information about purchasing a T-shirt as well as another mention of the specially marked bottles. T-shirts are available for $20 a piece, $4 of which goes directly to Loads of Hope. Having more than one way to help the cause lowers the constraint recognition even further. $20 may be a bit pricey for some public's finances, but nearly everyone buys laundry detergent. Providing consumers with a specially marked product reminds them, in the store, that they can help others simply by purchasing a product that they may have been planning on purchasing anyway. Because one of the goals of activism is often to draw attention to a problem and to ask audiences to take action toward a solution, an understanding of the situational theory of publics would be helpful to activist groups. Werder defines an activist group as two or more individuals who organize to influence an organization through action. While Tide laundry detergent is not, by Werder's definition, an activist group, the company is using the Loads of Hope program and its associated commercials to call the public to action. In terms of the situational theory, the Loads of Hope commercial does a nice job of encouraging the audience to participate in information seeking. First, they chose to focus on a problem that can affect large numbers of people in any demographic and use people from those various demographics to demonstrate the results of the program. This helps create a sense of involvement among viewers, which is the first independent variable in the situational theory. By choosing a problem that can and has affected so many people, it is easier to make the audience recognize that there is a problem, which is the second independent variable. Tide Loads of Hope makes it very easy to participate, either by purchasing a T-shirt or purchasing a specially marked bottle of product. This projects to the audience a low level of constraint, which is the third independent variable. Finally, the commercial ends by directing the audience to the program's website, where more information can be found.
You too can join us by purchasing a Tide Vintage Tee at TideLoadsOfHope.com. All profits will go towards helping families affected by disasters.
Visiting the website after viewing the commercial is an example of information seeking, which is the dependent variable that results from high level of involvement, high problem recognition, and low constraint recognition. Activist groups, as well as other programs that advocate some type of action from their audience, could develop very successful campaigns if they use Grunig's situational theory of publics as a guideline for their message.